All right, it's best of 2019 Powerheads today, and best means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and that's why we have 8 different best ofs of 2019 today. The first one is the most popular Powerhead, meaning the most units sold of all the Powerheads out there. We'll get to share with you guys. We also have the lowest cost option that gets the job done. So the best low cost option, the lowest maintenance option, and the smallest footprint. 4 more though.
Yeah, we're also going to hit the lowest cost per gallon per hour for a controllable pump, meaning that if I have a 4,000 gallon per hour pump, how much does that cost me per gallon per hour? So we're going to wrap that one up. We're going to do the best for mounting close to the surface. We're also going to hit up the best battery backup option, and as always, we're going to hit up the best in show.
All right, so starting with most popular Powerhead out there, drum roll please.
It's super surprising.
It's super surprising because you'd think it's actually this Hydor guy, because usually it's like the lowest cost option out there, but it is not. It's actually the VorTech pumps. This is the #1 selling pump that you guys are voting for as the most popular. In fact, the MP40 within that line alone outdoes every other line within their own line combined together.
That's
so a single pump.
I mean, I can see why. And there's going to be a few reasons that you'll also see why people are throwing these in their tanks more than any other pumps as we continue on today. But, I mean, these things are cool. These were some of the first pumps that I got for my tank when I upgraded to 125 gallon, just because I wanted to see my tank and not my pumps.
Boom. Yeah, so on these guys, as voted by you guys, not by us, although I probably would vote along with it.
Probably.
And they're not the cheapest option out there, no question, which is one of those rare things, because there's about 5 different things that I see within the catalog where one of the more expensive options is actually the most popular, and it's usually the items that are just like leaps and bounds beyond some of the other options out there. It has something really unique, and it definitely fits inside there. So most popular 2019, we'll be curious to see if it holds on for 2020, because they've been holding on to that for a long time. They've been super, super popular pumps. So what's next?
Next is the lowest cost option that gets the job done.
All right, so the lowest cost option that gets the job done is absolutely the AC motor Hydor KORALIAs. Hydor KORALIA, they have the standard line, and they also have the Gen 3s, which do cost like a little bit more. You have the Gen 3 here. This guy right here will absolutely get the job done. You plug it in. If you want, throw it on a wave maker, and you're good to go.
I mean, these things are designed to push water. And when we're just trying to move water in the display tank, these get the job done. And I do like that you can point these things in any which direction. So.
Yeah, these Gen 3s in particular, you can kind of really just move them any which way that you like. It's super, super easy to move them around. They have this hybrid suction cup mount on them, and they will absolutely get the job done. Now, so one of the things out there is there are some other really cheap DC options out there, but I'll just share my experience is that cheap DC options don't last very long. The tolerances on DC motors are just a lot tighter, and over time, like a cheap build, they just don't last very long. The AC motor, however, has a much looser tolerances and much more forgiving. And there is a good chance that if you keep this clean, it will actually outlast the tank that it's on, and which makes it absolutely the lowest cost option that works over time, not just initially out of the box, but over time as well.
I mean, there's a lot to be said about the longevity of AC pumps. I've seen so many reefers, and myself included, that may have started with some like AC pump like the KORALIAs or the Hydors in these, but you know, as you progress and if you upgrade, these turn into salt mixing station type ones. So I mean, they still serve their purpose throughout the length of your tank.
In fact, they're one of the few pumps that are in our storage locker where they could have been sitting there for 3 years. I can take them out, rinse them off, and plug them in, and they still work. So one of the very, very few options that work that way. So lowest cost option that gets the job done, Hydor KORALIA. All right, so best of 2019 in terms of low maintenance. So a lot of people don't want to actually maintenance their pump all the time.
You should.
You probably should do it more often than you do, but a lot of people really just don't want to do it all the time. So the lowest maintenance option out there, if you listen to anything we've talked about before, is absolutely this guy right here. So the VorTech, and the big thing is you can just pull the wet side out of the tank, swap it out with another website, you're done. 10 seconds, man. You know, soak the other side in some citric acid or some pump clean solution, and it's over.
I mean, for the time that you save in maintenance in these pump heads, it's worth the investment of a second wet side, so that I can always have one clean at all times. And when it's time maintenance day, I rip the old one out, put the new one in, and I go soak the other one and have it clean. It's ready to go. It's like 5 seconds.
And today, if it's easy, I do it. If it's not, I don't. And I will tell you, this one right here, I love, love, love the gyre. There's some reasons you're going to hear why it's a really awesome pump. Yeah. But it's got a lot of parts. Yes. You have to take it apart, and it definitely is one of the ones that slows down the most in the first month or two of operation. Got to clean it, and then it gets back up again. But all of them, actually, other than this one, my biggest problem is I spend all this time routing the wires and the cords and everything, you know, to get them perfect and they're hidden. And when I want to actually clean the pump, I need to undo all of that and, you know, either try to dangle it in a bucket at the tank or, you know, unplug it and take all the stuff to the sink and then redo the cords or whatever. It's just a big, big, big pain in the butt. In this case, swap out the wet side, swap in a new one, you're done. Soak it for next time. So lowest maintenance for sure, but you had another one.
Yeah, I think my second vote personally goes to the Wave for lowest maintenance, in that, sure, I do have it does have a long cord on it with the 1-link cable, so if I had to pull the entire thing out, but like what I used to do on the 160 with some of the pumps, and these weren't specifically in there, but I can bring a bucket of citric acid over to my tank. What I like about the Wave is that I don't have to go chasing cords or opening my apex to shut things off or pull a plug or anything. This thing knows when it's out of the water. I pull it out, it shuts off. I put it in my bucket of citric acid, it turns back on. I pull it out, I rinse it, and then I put it back in. And I like that idea that it recognizes when it's out of water, so that way I don't have to unplug. So if I'm fortunate enough to be able to put a bucket of cleaning solution next to my tank, then I can easily just pull this out, put it in, and put it back.
Theoretically, it should also clean faster because the pump's actually on than when you submerge it in the citric acid solution. The other ones you could go plug into, but this one's already done and you just don't have to mess around. Yeah. So best of 2019 in terms of low maintenance, the VorTech right here. All right, so best of 2019, lowest profile option inside the tank, and what is it?
I mean, it means a lot of things to a lot of people, like we were saying. So either it's sticking out into the tank, or, you know, height and width and things like that, when it doesn't look obtrusive in the tank. But when it comes down to just size in the tank, we had to give it to the NERO 5. This thing is 2.1 inches with the magnet inside, or with it attached inside the tank. Super low profile, and this thing actually does push out quite a bit of flow for being a very low profile.
For so small, it puts out a ton of flow. And it's also an option that's super low profile, but you can actually aim it like a little bit as well. Not tons, but you can definitely get it to go a little bit one direction or another. But this is very, very, very low profile pump inside the tank. So if that's one of your options, I mean, for those of you who don't know, these two guys are sister companies, so I'm not surprised that this one's also low profile. But it also has the pump on the outside of the tank, right? So if that's not an option to have the motor on the outside and low profile is the king here, this is probably it.
I mean, it's not only just low profile in the pump itself, it's low profile in the driver too, because some of these pumps have a driver with a brick and all of this other stuff. This just has a plug-in, and this is the driver. I mean, it's super low profile in that aspect too.
Connect to it directly from your phone to
Bluetooth
operate
LE.
different settings. Yep, so there you go. Lowest profile option of 2019, the AI NERO. All right, so best of 2019, lowest cost in gallons per hour maximum inside those DC controllable options. What is it?
So this one was really cool, because I took all of the pumps on the site, looked at their max flow rating, and then did the math with the max flow rating and their current price. And the lowest cost per gallon per hour turned out to be the Neptune WAV.
I think it won by quite a big margin as well.
Yeah, it was at $175 for 4,000 gallons per hour. That math works out to 4.4 cents per gallon per hour. So,
and some of them were upwards of 20 cents, so like quadruple that. So big win on there. It's also in a pretty small form factor. They also have the ability to rotate it with a magnet and swivel it and aim it just a little bit as well. But yeah, the cheapest DC gallon per hour when you're running it at max out there is the Neptune WAV.
Yeah, but it does assume that you do have an apex. It
There's
does
an
have a
option
one-link
that
cable.
you can get a one-link little power supply.
Yeah, the one-link box for it. Mm-hmm.
I think most people will probably run it if you have an Apex already, because there's a little one-link ports in there. And that's one of the cool things about that Apex power bar. It looks like you only have 8 outlets, but there's actually some things on the side that you can power in, so you don't have to plug your pump into one of the AC outlets. You can plug it right into the one links on the side.
Single cord, no driver.
All right, there you go. So yeah, best of 2019 in terms of cost per flow at maximum. All right, so best of 2019 in terms of mounting your pump close to the surface where it's hidden and performs well. What is it?
Well, as we all know who have tried to put their pumps like right up in the top corners or right up in the upper edges of their tanks with almost every single pump, it sucks in air and then shoots bubbles all over the tank. So pretty unsightly, but there is one pump that we voted.
Noisy too.
Oh, and noisy because yeah, that vortex noise. But one that actually gets us really close, which lends its hand to being low profile also. But of course, the Maxspect GYRE, if you've listened to a lot of things we've said in a lot of different videos, this one you can get really up close to the surface, which now means less cord in the tank, and then it shoots this sheet over the top of the coral. So it was really ideal for like the BRS 160 and the 750 XXL or wherever, you know, these corals that will eventually grow up towards the surface without hitting them directly with a wide pattern of flow. This is the option that we can mount up high and then shoot water over the top of them, so we're not tearing up tissue and all this direct flow. And then it definitely works for a 4-foot tank.
Yeah, it just, again, shoots that like sheet of water right across, doesn't suck in all of those vortexes. And one of the things I like the most about this guy is when you put it up near the top, what you do is hide the pump and the cords. And so the cord is in the tank, but it just kind of like barely goes in and follows the trim of your tank. You can't really even see there's a cord in the tank in most cases unless you're really nitpicky and looking for it. And the pump itself is out of the way, yet it's creating like a current in the tank that is getting flow everywhere. Again, going across the top. There's almost no other pump that, lots of them create gyres in the tank because if I shoot water across one way, it has to come back the other way. But shooting it across the top of the tank in that sheet that isn't blasting corals, this is probably the only option out there that, like, other than the ice cap gyres and whatnot, that does that really well. There's no question that it does it the best. And so, you know, really, if you're looking for something that is low profile in the tank and you want to get, especially like in the 160, the tank is actually only 20 inches tall. So I don't have that much space from top to bottom. I need the flow to go over the top, and this is probably, that's why it's still in there actually.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the best options for that specific thing.
Yeah, we've got corals in there. The staghorns and stuff in the 160 are growing up out of the water and, you know, starting to table up on the water because they're out of water in the room, and we needed something that can get water over the top of them so you can get flow up there.
So best if you don't want to suck vortexes into your tank, have all the noise, all the bubbles, and you want to keep the cord and the pump out of the way visually as well, is definitely best of 2019, the GYRE. All right, best of 2019 in terms of battery backup, and this one is near and dear to my heart because we actually lost a bunch of fish this year pretty publicly without the battery backup on there that it should have been there, and it just wasn't because we didn't have time to put it in. We should have made time. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think any pump out there can call themselves best in class of anything if they don't have a way to battery back up the power when time goes out, because it's such a critical component.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
At some point, the power's going to go out in your house. At some point, a breaker's going to trip, or a GFCI, or like somebody's going to unplug it unknowingly. Something's going to happen. You know, it may not happen this year, but in the next 5 years, it will happen for sure. And it's just a really big thing. Like, power outage, your tank can live through, like, you know, maybe even multiple days without worrying about heat and other things in many cases. But oxygen and water flow, that is like the circulation and the heart of the tank, has to be there in a matter of hours. In many cases, catastrophic events can happen really fast. So battery backup has to be something, if you want to call yourself the best in class out there, it is definitely got to have that function. And it is the VorTech, for sure.
Yeah.
It is the easiest one out there.
I mean, it's a cable from your VorTech driver
Plug it in
to your battery backup, and you're done.
Done.
And like for the smaller pumps, it could be up to 72 hours of coverage. And like the average length of time for a power outage is probably not more than 72 hours. Maybe just a toggle here
Probably
and there for
4.
a few hours.
Yeah.
So I mean, this thing is constantly charging all the time, and then when it does flip, it turns your pump on, and it turns it on at a low flow, so it's power savvy and consuming power. But because of the 750 XXL, we went around and we put them on every tank that has VorTechs on it. Now has a battery backup on it.
Most of them had it anyway, but like you set up a new tank, and you're like, oh, I'll get around to that thing, right? Well, get around to it. And so even if you don't have it, like the Tunes pumps has an option, the Gyre has an option. Tunes one's kind of cool because you can actually wire it up to your own battery, so you don't have to pay markup on batteries, go to Battery Plus or whatever and get as big as you want. It's not as a refined option, but it is better in some ways.
Yeah.
But this is the easiest to use, lasts the long, or more than adequate.
Yeah.
Even on an MP60, you're looking at 20 hours, MP40, like 40 hours. And I will tell you, a lot of people use like UPCs for like computers or whatnot, and like AC pumps, and they will work in a pinch. One of the things I'll tell you though is test it. Like plug it in, pull the thing out, or charge it up, pull it out of the water, and see how long it lasts, right? You might be disappointed because even though the battery is huge, the inverter that changes it from AC to DC actually consumes more power than the pump itself, and so it can die pretty fast, even though the battery might be like 3 times bigger than the one inside some of the other options.
Interesting.
So yeah, so test it and make sure, and they're usually actually more expensive even, like a big one. And one of the guys at the computer stores, if you just go that way just because you already have these things or whatnot, he told me more or less you can find the best ones just by picking them up. It's all in the battery.
How
so
heavy it
the heavier, like weigh the dollar value of your UPC versus the weight, and you'll probably get the best value matrix. That might not be totally true, but it'll definitely send you in the right direction.
I mean, it's the case in that one too, because like that battery backup for the EcoTech is heavy. I've had to mount a couple of them, and I ended up just kind of like putting them in there not too high up, but trying to hold that thing up and drill it in was pretty tough, but it is a heavy battery.
Hopefully we'll get to lithium ion, but like with a UPC or something, it's just not cost efficient in most cases to do better technology and something like that. So if you want the best, easiest to use, longest lasting battery backup option, VorTech again. All right, so best of show, meaning the best available option of all the ones that we looked at. If you just want to know that, like, I got the best, get this Powerhead thing behind me and be happy with it, I think that for me, it's definitely the VorTech pump 2019 best of show.
I mean, this one was a no-brainer, kind of. I mean, we were looking at, it's the most popular, it's the best battery backup option, it's got the best maintenance. I mean, the people are choosing this thing for a reason. Because it's the best.
It's not because it's the cheapest. There's no question there. But yeah, I mean, if I can do my maintenance on it inside of 10 seconds, which means I'm going to use it, or I'm actually going to do the maintenance rather, it protects my fish in power outages. It has all kinds of flow patterns that connect wirelessly with each other. Reef crest, lagoon mode, all these different things. Even gyre modes. I think it's just kind of a no-brainer. It's also the lowest profile in many essences. You do have a pump and a motor on the outside, but inside the tank, no cords.
Well, especially like on those cubes tanks, like in your office, and
on the back.
I had a 90-gallon cube. The same thing. If you paint the back of your tank black, and then you put power heads on there on the back, they disappear, especially with no cords.
Yeah, we actually have them on those cubes. We put them on the bottom, on a bare bottom, and they flow upward like this, and then we actually had a couple on the top on some of them, but you can't even see these things are there. And when you shoot a camera on them, like we have to like crank up the contrast just to be able to see it even exist in the tank when we're talking about it. So yeah, they disappear in there, and some people may say, I don't want to pump on the motor on the inside or outside cord, wherever, and you were right. for yourself, which whatever way you go on there.
That's
for
true.
me, if you ask me my favorite painting, do I want a cord going through the picture or a cord going into the side of the picture? It's the side for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go. Best of 2019 here, but we got tons of great options. I'm sure one of these spoke to you in some way and best for your specific needs. So what do we want to see for next year?
There's a list of things we want to see for 2020.
All right, so the most fun in all these best of 2019s for me is what we'd like to see for next year in 2020. What are the improvements that are coming, I hope?
Yeah, for me, the first improvement that I'd like to see is hide the cords. Find us a way to hide the cords, whether that's like the option of being close to the surface where I have a little bit of cord in, or no cords at all by some degree. Maybe even longer cords too, you know, at that, because some of these you have to stretch quite a ways to get to your plug-in or your driver. So maybe a little extra cord length means I can route my cord ever so slightly around the edge of my tank, and then essentially hide it.
Yeah. So another option I've always thought, so part of the problem isn't just the cord. It's that the cord is all wonky and dangly in there, right?
Yeah.
And if it were perfectly straight, I wouldn't care. So find a way to make it perfectly straight. Or let's get something to hide them, to go to the glass, whether or not you like, maybe you got to silicone it on before you even put water, I don't care. Or maybe there's like some magnet holders that will hold this thing in or whatever from the outside. But allows you, there'll be a little black strip inside on the glass,
Better than
but
this.
I won't see this wonky cord coming in and out and all over the place. Right?
Yeah.
So best improvement for 2020, somebody come up with a way to hide cords in the aquarium. And better yet, if you make pumps for a living and you know your cord's ugly, maybe you should do it first. Right on? So somebody out there, let's do it. And then next one is longer cords in some cases, right?
Yeah, like I mentioned, especially for the 160 in those, like in my 125, all of my electrical I mounted on the back side of a wall. And a 6-foot tank, when I've got a pump on this side and pump on this side, I'm trying to route everything to a central location, which in most cases, if a lot of us route cords to a central location, you know, I'm routing it through the wall in my case in the 160, over to the aquarium controller, over to the apex, and a 6-foot cord doesn't cut it because my tank's 6 feet long. Like maybe if that thing were 10 or 12 feet where I can take the excess and wrap it up over at my plug-in, then I'd be okay with some excess.
I think if you could even get extensions, especially for pumps that have proprietary cords, you know, if you just get an AC cord, you can go get an extension cord, so be it. But if you got like a DC cord with a proprietary connection, get in some extensions, because especially if you're selling like an expensive pump, there's a good chance that somebody's got like a fish room or something. This stuff is really far away and they need a solution. They need your help to be able to use the product. So, you know, in some cases, being able to find a way to make the cord longer. I know personally I'd like it shorter in many cases, so I don't have these big knobs of cords all bunched up, but something for everybody would be really good. Another one is clearer guidance if you could submerge the pump in it, or the pump magnet, right? So
this is
that's
one
the
that,
back guy, like this guy right here.
Yeah, this is one I see on the forums quite a bit, and sometimes you don't know, like there is a protective coating on this Hydor one, but I can see the magnet through there, and it doesn't really say anywhere in the verbiage of the text or the brochure that this thing is submersible. And when I go to the forums and somebody wants to use a pump on their all-in-one tank where there's chambers in the back, but you really want that pump on the back of your wall, I don't know if I can submerge that rear magnet.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of them, if you email them, they'll tell you, but you want to know ahead of time. So clear guidance, especially again for all those all-in-one installs, where I actually want to put the pump not on the side where like I can see this cord and I can see the pump shooting in, but I want to put it on the back so the pump's kind of coming at you and you just can't see all that stuff as well. So that'd be really, really nice if you had clear guidance as to the components, what can be submerged and what can't. So, more battery backup options as well.
Yeah, battery backup options for any pump is almost a must at this point. You have to have something in place. I have to have something in place that should the power go out, and inevitably it will, we need flow in those tanks. And a battery little air bubbler might not cut it for everybody. Regardless of whatever your pump choice, whichever is your favorite and you decide to go with, we just need more battery backup options.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I mean, they're gonna kill me for saying this out loud, but I can't help it. This is a really, really awesome pump. But the fact that I can't set it up to a battery backup means I'll never use it because I got so much of my heart and soul and wallet tied up in this tank, and when it goes down, it doesn't just have like a financial cost to it. It's like an emotional hit that, like, sometimes, man, you're just not going to get past. You may not set up a tank again for another 5-10 years, man. Definitely not immediately, right? Because you just lost all your pets, you lost all these corals you grew from here, you lost a fortune, and man, this thing that you loved is gone, right? And it could be just because, like, you know, your neighbor drove a car into the power line down the street, man. You know, you have no idea, no control. Could be a storm, could be a tornado, could be, in our case, it was just the GFCI tripped. No reason why, never happened again, no idea why. So, like, this is an example of a really awesome pump that I just can't use. So more battery backup options for all of them, and I'd like to see even improved options. With this guy right here, let's see lithium, man. I mean, the person that is investing all the money in these things, we don't want these super heavy blocks. Let's make it small, and I'm pretty certain that there's a good chunk of people out there that would pay to have it small, because we're often working underneath a stand here, and it's cramped. Right? There's not much space.
This is like in my 93-gallon cube design. I have specifically designed a spot, some real estate for my battery backup to go, and it was some real estate that I could probably use for a bunch of other different things if it was a smaller form factor.
It could probably be like 1/4 the size if it was lithium. So I beg of the guys, the team over at EcoTech, give us a lithium option, because people are buying these battery backups. Like almost every single pump you sell probably comes with a battery backup. So let's give a more advanced option. I mean, we've been selling the lead acid ones for like a decade now. It's time to step up our game. Hopefully in 2020 we'll see that. You know, also
choose your own.
Choose your own battery.
That would be
right?
great. Yeah. Like the Tunesy option, when you had that battery up here in the back of the 160, and there was a couple of cords running to it, like I could picture that battery this small on my small tank. I could picture that battery this big on my big tank, and it really means that I get an option, you know, as to what battery best serves my needs.
I think that's the best route, actually, because their batteries are a commodity item. There's no reason for, you know, fish company X to make money selling a battery, then sell it to bulk resupply, and bulk resupply make money selling a battery to you guys. That just makes no sense at all. So what we'd like to see is, like the Tunes option, where you just get the little charger, adapter, and regulator for it, is that you go to Batteries Plus and buy your own battery. And then you can choose, hey man, I want a giant lead acid battery or a small one, or I'm gonna go find myself a like a lithium ion battery for it or whatnot. You can make your own decisions and buy them at what should be commodity battery prices rather than aquarium series of markup on that kind of stuff. So I'd love to see that, just a super option, small option, easy for everybody. And lastly, power or flow monitoring for anything that has a brain.
I mean, these pumps are smart. Each of them, or almost all of them, in the DC controllable, especially the DC controllable, have some sort of controller on them that is smart enough, or should be smart enough, to tell me when my pump is not, you know, running at the high rate of speed as it would when it was freshly clean, or if something were, you know, jammed in it or anything like that, like a snail or a fish or something's in there. They're smart enough to, like, flash, even just to flash an indicator or change the color of an LED or something to tell me, hey, clean me, you know, or come look at me.
You know what? I look at it and maybe it needs cleaning. It's definitely dirty, but maybe it's going to get performance, maybe it's not. But if the thing was flashing at me yellow, like, hey, you lost 25% of your flow, and then at like 50, it's flashing red at me, like, get off your lazy butt, Ryan, and go clean your pumps, because you're supposed to keep these things clean to get performance for the animals that rely on you to take care of them. Red light I'm going to go do for sure. Yellow I should actually do. But these things are smart enough to be able to do that, either power monitoring or RPMs or something, man. Some of them, on 2020, I would absolutely love to see one that doesn't necessarily tell you power monitoring. It tells you clean me. Clean me light is on, right?
I like
You'll
that.
get better performance. So that about wraps it up. That's 2019, what we'd like to see for 2020. And if you can go over to the website, you can see all of our Powerhead videos. You want to learn more about all of them, how to use them, how to install them, you know, what kind of flow rating you need for your specific tank, right? Go to the website, go to the category for pumps and plumbing, and then inside there, there's a little tab that says video. All of the pump videos are in there. You can also find it right here by clicking on this link right there. And we will see you next week with the next BRS Best of 2019.